Hi everyone, this is Sujoy Biswas from Kearney. I'm very excited to have Sean Monahan, Chief Operating Officer of Sapporo-Stone Brewing with me today to talk supply chain.
Glad to be here.
Great, thanks Sean. So I know that in your world, your brand is local and you do a lot of a product which is focused on local consumers. Now, but I know that you also have ingredients that you get globally across the board. So can you talk a little bit about what are some of the key factors that are influencing some of those global supply chain decisions?
Sure. Maybe if I could make one quick correction. We sell our beer in 50 countries. So we're not. So while we produce here in the U.S.,
Okay.
We used to produce in Berlin. Actually, reshored that to the U.S. because people wanted U.S. produced stone beer. But we are distributed in over 50 countries around the world. So we do have a bit of an external export supply chain. But while our major ingredients are within North America, there are certain specialty ingredients, particularly, and then certain specialty hops that we'll get from places like South Africa, New Zealand, Europe, that are impacted. We also, some of our packaging, particularly cans, we get from different places around the world. So we do have a global impact.
Got it. And talking about some of those global impact as well as you mentioned, aluminum, we have seen so many upheaval in this market, like shortages, price increase, etc. So I don't know what your favorite challenges are, but can you talk a little bit about some of the challenges that you faced in the last maybe couple of years and what stood out for you?
Yeah, I think what's interesting is even if we're sourcing domestically, so our can suppliers are domestic, most of our malt is supplied within North America, the global environment impacts us. So if China and Australia are having a dispute that it impacts what they're able to exchange in terms of malt, or if there's the war in Ukraine has an impact on grain supply, or if there's impacts aluminum, that all of those global dynamics impact us even in the U.S. market, particularly driving kind of our costs.
Right. We talked quite a bit about the consumer, how it is the top-down versus bottoms approach, and we also know that you have quite a loyal consumer base. And for you, the speed to market is also very important, as we just heard from you in the panel. So can you talk a little bit about what are some of the purposeful product design decisions and that you're making, and how you're collaborating with the commercial and sales folks to really drive some of these decisions to make it more supply chain friendly, if I may?
Supply chain friendly. The key thing that impacts us is when we are designing our beers, there's usually kind of two different types I'll talk about. One may be more of a special release. It might be just a one-off production that there we have more degrees of freedom. We're trying to find something that's exciting. Maybe there's a new hop that we're really excited about that we want to bring to market, and we find homes for it. We may collaborate with a particular retailer to do something specific for them. When it comes to our core beers, when our commercial team wants to launch something. So I think I'd share an example of we want to expand our Delicious family, which is a gluten-reduced beer. And so 12-pack mixed packs are the fastest growing, and gluten-reduced was something our fans were asking for. So we worked with them to give us a design brief. What does it mean to be part of the Delicious family? We argued a lot about it. I think I mentioned big D, small d.
That's
D
right.
is the big family, D is it has to taste delicious. And really worked on a design brief, which may sound a little bit odd for beer in terms of what are the flavor profiles we want, what are the ABV levels that we want, what are some of the other aroma attributes, what are the cost parameters, that then I could work my innovation team to say, hey, what are the right hops, what are the right ingredients that we could cycle through to come up with something that they were excited about, and now it's the fastest growing mixed 12-pack in the US.
I think the other thing that you mentioned that's really stood out for me is the consumer experience consistency, right? How it is very important. And one of the challenges you mentioned is it's primarily like a lot of it is driven by the hops, and hops are different. It grows year over year. They're different flavor profile, etc. So when you have some of those discussions, you probably don't know what the characteristics of that hop is going to look like next year and the year after. So how do you manage some of that complexity in your supply chain from a consistency of experience perspective for the consumers?
Yeah, it's a bit of a bit of a challenge. One is, we're going to have hops that we like. We also need to ensure that we're going to have an adequate supply to meet our needs. So we work very closely with growers. There's some like cooperative growers. There are also some kind of very family-based growers where we'll work with them. We'll have a multi-year commitment. So we know that we're going to be buying El Dorado hops from them for the next 3 years. Right. With no insight into what the weather is going to be and what that's going to look like, but we'll agree to kind of a pricing structure. They know that they can commit a certain percentage of their crops to that. But then every year we go and we do hop selection. So we'll actually go walk the fields. We'll decide, do we want to harvest this early or late? We'll go to their rooms and we'll do hop rubbings, which are kind of a fun activity. You get hops all over your face, and if you have a beard, it's in your beard. We say we like this lot. We're like, oh no, we don't like that lot. Do you have any others? And we'll pick very specific lots that we think best fit our needs in terms of the aromas and the profiles we're looking for.
It's fascinating. You mentioned a couple of examples, but any other success stories that you did not expect at all that will turn into such a success story over the years you had with Stone Brewery?
Yeah, one of the the funnest one is what we call our Buena Vista lager.
Okay.
So historically, Stone has been IPAs, and we had very, very successful, very kind of dynamic founders who he's known for saying, he doesn't like we call it wussy beer or fizzy light beers.
Right.
And so having a lager or a pilsner was something he just like, we will never do that. But nonetheless, one of our innovation brewers, Chris Ketchum, down Liberty Station, we have a small 10-barrel brew house. A brewer was giving him some help 1 week as he was trying to get a lot of work done. And he said, hey, thanks for doing this. Is there a beer you'd like to make? Give someone that kind of creative freedom. And the guy said, well, I drink a lot of Corona. So don't tell anyone. He says, but I want something with more mouthfeel. I want something I always put salt and lime in it. I'd love to have it like all in one, like an all-inclusive beer. So they said, okay, well, let's give it a shot. So they formulated it, they brewed it, and we put it on at our Liberty Station location. Also had some up in Escondido, and we get like 1 million customers a year coming through. So we get a lot of opportunity for fan feedback. And lo and behold, these 10 barrels, they sold over the weekend. Like it was just sold out. It's like, okay, well, it was hot that weekend. Who knows what happened. Brewed it again, and it takes 3 weeks between brews, and it sold out again. And so suddenly we're like, okay, there's something here that even though it's a segment we've never really pursued, we should explore. And so with our commercial team, we actually found that when people aren't drinking Stone, our fans, the number 2 beer they drink is Corona. So it's like, okay, let's meet them where they have this need and keep them in the Stone family. So we said, let's take this to market. We came up with the brand name, whole marketing, the packaging, and we got that done between June, and we had a full product launch over the Labor Day weekend. We wanted to hit that kind of peak selling weekend, and now a couple years later, it's our number 1 selling draft beer nationwide.
Wow,
so that's came out of nowhere. Really.
Yeah, and then really you had to reconfigure or your entire supply chain plan to kind of meet that completely out of the world the demand that's coming out of this product. So that's fascinating.